Hi Stampers! Today I'm going to show you how to make this really pretty pull-out card. And you can make it for just about any occasion. I actually have it in kind of an anniversary or a wedding card. But it's really fun for kids to make a birthday card out of. So I'll show you how to do this. It's really, really simple. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to be taking a piece of cardstock. And this is going to measure 8.5 by 6. And what I've done is I went ahead and scored it at 4 1/4, and I folded it on the score line. And then where the fold is, that's going to be, of course, the side of the card. On the outside of the card, what I've done is I went ahead and taken a ruler and a pencil, and I marked 3.5 inches down from the top of the card, and I put a little dot there. And then I went and I took my ruler and I lined up the dot with the corner of the card, and I drew a line. And then I went ahead and I cut this so that I have this triangle shape. And I'll show you on the inside of the card here, just to give you an idea of exactly how I did that. But I had this one cut already. So now we're going to go ahead and do the decorative piece that goes on the outside there. So again, I'm using a piece of Designer Series paper from the Beau Chateau, which is only available to the end of May 2012. So it's a beautiful pattern. So I hope that you can get it before it goes away. But anyways, this DSP paper is measured 3 3/4 by 5 inches long. And again, we're going to go ahead and make a mark on one of the edges here. And we're going to go down and mark it about 2.5 inches. So measure 2.5 inches from the top down. Make a little dot. We'll go ahead and I'm going to get this cutting tool out of the way so you can see what I'm doing here. We'll go ahead and take the edge of the paper, the corner, line up the ruler there, and then turn it to get to the dot. And then you go ahead and make a line between the dot and there. So now you have that triangle shape cut out. Then you're going to go ahead and take it in your cutter, line it up, the pencil marks. So you got your pencil mark there in the groove, so that's actually where we're going to be cutting. Oops, I just moved it, so I'm going to straighten that a little bit. There we go. So now you have this diagonal cut. And it fits right on top of the paper real nicely here. So that's what you want to do basically is just try to get this pattern, same pattern, so that it all lines up on the card. So now the rest of the card, what we're going to do is we've got some very vanilla cards, ribbon actually, satin ribbon, and I had a couple little scrap pieces, so I'm going to show you how to make use of your scraps. Sometimes you have little pieces here and there. I actually have a big jar that I keep them in, so that way I always have extra scraps handy. Like I've got a 4-inch scrap here, I've got a 5.5-inch scrap here, and this actually was a 12-inch piece of ribbon that I just went ahead and tied a bow out of. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that ribbon and we're going to wrap it around the card here, or the cardstock, so we get a real nice, pretty bow. And I'm going to wrap it around the bottom and take a little bit of snail and just kind of put that on the back just to adhere that. And then we're going to attach our bow using a glue dot when we're ready. And then we're going to attach this whole thing to the front of the card already. And when you use your glue dots, always make sure that you're, instead of taking the glue dot off and putting it on your finger, just put your bow or whatever you're attaching right onto the glue dot, stick it down. That way you don't get your fingers all stuck together with the glue dots. Anyway, so we've got that little part done. This little part we're going to be using for the actual pull part, so I'll show you what we do with that. We're going to go ahead and attach this to the front of our card already. And I'm going to use a liquid adhesive. But you can use snail if you like. It probably would be strong enough. Or if you want to use Tombow, liquid Tombow, that's fine. I'm just going to go ahead and put some of this liquid glue on here and get it going. And we'll attach this to the front of our card. And before we get too much further, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and close up our card. So I am using some score tape Again, you can use red line tape, liquid Tombow, whatever works for you. We're just going to go ahead and put the score tape on the outer edge here, not the diagonal cut, because you want to keep that open for your pocket. So we'll go ahead and adhere this together. There we go. And then for the pocket, what we're going to take is a piece of Whisper White cardstock. This is cut 3.5 by 4 3/4 inches. And I've also got another piece of Designer Series paper, and this is cut 3.5 by 5. And we're going to go ahead and use our little corner ticket punch and punch out the corners just to give it a little nicer look instead of being just everything square, square, square. And we can go ahead and attach this with just using some snail adhesive. And like I said, this is a pretty fast card to put together. And before I put down this side, I'm going to take my little 4.5 inch ribbon and stick that between the Whisper White and the designer paper and use my little pull. This will be my little pull here. So now you've got your little card that goes inside. And then to finish off the insert, all I've done is I've taken a piece of Very Vanilla cardstock, used the decorative label punch, punched out one of those, used a little bit of crumb cake, and just kind of distressed the edges a little bit, especially with this paper because it does have kind of a distressed old age look, so I just wanted to kind of keep going with that theme of the paper. And we'll leave that open because we'll be using that shortly. And then I just used some snail to adhere that down to the center of this. And I'm using this because you might want to have a little sentiment or say something on it, and sometimes it's hard to read on the designer paper. So the insert is basically done. The only thing we have to add is just some little pearls, but we'll do that at the very, very end. Now for the outside, the last thing that we really have to do is just kind of make up our wording here. So what I've done is I've actually just used one of our framelits. This is actually one of the framelit dies. It comes with 6 dies. This is the smallest one, and they're incrementally bigger and bigger. I buy about 1/4 inch a piece, I believe. So I went ahead and cut one of these out already, and it actually looks like this. You could use this for another card if you like. And this is actually going to be our background piece. Then I'm going to take a small piece of Very Vanilla cardstock, and I'm going to be using the stamp set Tiny Tags. And in that stamp set there is a stamp which says Love, which is this one here. So I'm going to use chocolate chip. Go right onto the Very Vanilla cardstock with that. And then I'm going to come right up behind that with another stamp that was in the Tiny Tag set. And using the crumb cake, it has kind of a flower design, so I'm just going to go ahead and run that through that as well. And that basically takes care of our stamping there. And then I'm going to take the small oval punch and go ahead and punch that out. And again, that flower just kind of mimics the flowers in the paper a little bit, so it kind of all goes together. And then for the flowers here, I've used the Boho Blossoms punch and Marina Mist paper, and I punched out the big one and one of the small ones. So we'll go ahead and punch those out. And then just to make it stand out just a little bit more from the paper, the flowers, I went ahead and used my bone folder and just kind of broke down those paper fibers a little bit just by running the bone folder around the outsides of the flowers. This is a fairly stiff cardstock too, so if you were using Designer Series, probably wouldn't need to do this, but on the stiffer cardstocks, the regular plain cardstocks, you may need to do that. So we'll go ahead and do that with the small flower as well. And then I just took a couple dimensionals and just popped that flower up a little bit. And we'll take the back off of this. There we go. And another dimensional for the back here. And I'm not going to take the paper off just yet because I want to go ahead and secure down everything else. I just used a little Tombow on the back of the Bashful Blue framelit. Then I did use a dimensional on the Love just to pop that up a little bit. So we'll put that in the back. And we're almost done. And before we actually finish off this card, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of pearls right there. And these are the jewel pearls. I find it pretty easy to just go ahead and use the strips of pearls by using my little paper cutter here. And I went ahead and used actually 6 pearls to get this effect, so I'm going to go ahead and count them out. 5, 6. Make a little indent there, and then I can just kind of pull these up off the paper. And these I'll use for another project. There we go. And then I'm going to take these pearls and I'm going to just kind of attach them around the outside of this decorative framelit. There we go. These extra little pearls that I have, and I believe I used 4 to get this look here. So we're going to go ahead and take off just 4 little pearls here. And I'm going to run this around just the corner edge, just to kind of tie it in with everything else. And we'll take our flowers that we put together, and we'll set that right at the top. And then we'll take a bigger pearl and set that right in the center of our flowers. And there you have it. Very easy little card to make, and it looks like you spent hours doing it. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Bye-bye.